Good evening to one and all present here. Today's topic given to me is publishing SCI research articles. Hope you are able to see the presentation as well as you are able to hear my voice. If there is any interruption, kindly let me know. So publishing SCI research articles. So this is the topic actually. So as because we are all in the academic domain, we are in a situation to publish our research articles in the reputed journals. So when you go for reputed journals, we can have SCI indexed journals, ESCI indexed journals, SCI journals, Scopus indexed journals, Web of Science journals. Likewise, lots of research journals are available in the academic and R&D domain. Let us see how what kind of efforts we have to make so that we are able to publish our research, our original research, in a good academic and or in an R&D journal. So today we will see the agenda points because the information given to me has been two-folded. So agenda for day one is select an appropriate publication outlet. Where are you going to publish your publication? Where are you going to publish your journal output? Where are you going to showcase your experimentation outputs? That is what select an appropriate publication output. And the second point is keep a good title and novel abstract for your paper. Manuscript, how will you prepare your manuscript and how will you submit the manuscript, to which journal you will submit your manuscript, and what kind of reviewer comments you will be receiving for your paper, and how the comments have to be received by you, and how the comments have to be addressed by you, and what kind of suggestions are required for you to address the reviewer comments, and finally how the manuscript will be accepted. So these are all the agenda points of today. And tomorrow we'll be having the genesis of a paper, reviewer expectation, and how to avoid plagiarism, and decision for acceptance criteria, and how your article will be cited. So the first point in day one is select an appropriate publication output. YD outlet. So why do you go for a publication? You must be having something, so that with that only you are going for a publication. What you will be having? You are doing some experimentation, you are doing a project, you are doing a product, you are inventing something, you are innovating something. So that is why after innovating or inventing something, after you have productization, after you have done a prototype, after you have experimented something, after you tested something and you got some results in your hand, you want it to be showcased to others so that the fellow researchers can also come through that, and they will also give some suggestions, and it can be made as a product which will be helpful to the community and which will be customized for the people around us, and that will be helpful for the human community. That is what we are interested in. Not only for human community, we can develop any type of product or prototype or any kind of experiment or any kind of device, whatever you want, that can also be developed for the betterment of birds, animals, insects, anything, whatever is available, plants, anything, whatever is available around us, for the environment, for the society, for the community, for the entire world. You can do an experiment and find out something, because all our gadgets, we are having a lot of electronic gadgets around us. All these gadgets are useful for us in one way or the other because of inventions only. Say, for example, Thomas Alva Edison invented electricity. Because of that only we are able to get communicated with each other right now. So the first point is select an appropriate publication outlet. So what do you want to have? Actually, you must be having something in hand. You have done an experiment, scientific experiment, and you have some results in your hand which are not already existing. So those results you want to publish, and with that results, you have to find out what is the appropriate platform through which you can publish your paper. So you are writing what you have done, how the experiment was started, what was the process involved, what is the procedure involved, what was the algorithm you applied, and what was the result you got. And based on all this, you are making a report, making a paper, and using those information, you want to publish it as a scientific paper. Because it is a scientific invention, you want to publish it as a scientific paper. And need for writing and publishing research. Why do you go for publishing such kind of research papers, and what is the need for you to share your research findings and discover something you have invented that you want to share it? Say, for example, I invented a device called virtual eye. So that is for the betterment of the blind people. So the blind people, whenever they go here and there, how they will be going, they are having a stick in their hands. You could have watched on the roads wherever you crossed some blind people or blind children. They have to they have to be handholded by some other people who are having full vision, and they are safeguarded by the humans like us who are having vision. Then only they are able to go from one location to other location. Somebody's help is required for them. Otherwise, they are, because their world is fully dark, and they have to go from here and there, but with the help of other people only. Otherwise, they'll be having a stick. With that stick, they'll be touching the earth with their stick and making a sound, so that there is no obstacle in front of them. Then only they are able to move forward in the direction where they want to go. So in that way, we have to find out some devices. So our research findings and discoveries, we want to share it to some people, other people, the human community, and then to improve the knowledge base. Whoever is interested in the same domain, we can communicate with each other and then find out what is their interest. And if they are interested in the same domain, we can also connect with each other, and then we can come out with some good results. And to get funding, because government and private organizations, they are able to provide a lot of funding. We may not be having that much amount of funding to execute a project work or execute a product or execute an experiment. In that case, we will be getting some funding. For that also, we want to publish our research paper, and we need promotion. So definitely, whenever we are doing, that must be notified by the people, and we need to get it to be promoted. And to expand our research community, we need recognition. Out of all what is required, there are competition among peers, the journal quality and impact factor, cost of publication, all these are there. Even all these are there, we want to publish our research papers. So this is the need for writing and publishing our research papers. So coming to the types of research papers, we can have lots and lots of monographs, booklets, book chapters, journal articles, conference proceedings, all that are available. So you can see the diagram. The diagram indicates conference, book chapter, non-indexed journals, indexed journal with a high impact factor. Like that, research papers can be published. The original research papers, you can have white papers, you can see. So, corporates and the people who are working in corporates, they used to publish white papers because they are going for real research. Say, for example, Google has developed LLM, large language model. They are going for millions and millions of data. With that data, they are able to come out with some solutions, and they are able to provide some recommendation engines for the purpose of the community. You can see Alexa, Siri, and all other devices which are ChatGPT, Llama, everything is there. So all this are able to understand what we are speaking. The machine is able to understand, and then it is able to provide the result, provide the answer, whatever we want, in the way in which we want. So all these are some of the examples, and these are all research papers, actually white papers. They can be whatever is in the executional path, and some of the partial results they have come out with, and that can also be published. Methodology papers and some new methodology we have invented, or some tests we have carried out. Due to those tests, some results we got. So test papers and experimental papers, some descriptions, we are able to provide what we have inferred from. So those kind of papers are all original research papers. Other than that, some review articles. So many papers. Literature review is there. State of the art or benchmark literature is there in a particular domain. So what we will be doing, so we will be analyzing all the literature, all the papers which have been published earlier, survey papers which have been published earlier, or the content papers which have been published earlier. Those papers, what we will be looking at. So we are looking at the content of each and every paper and finalizing the literature about what we are looking for. Then we can write the review article. So in terms of case reports, in terms of, for a journal, you can write an editorial message, also some new novel information which you could have come across, that can also be written as a editorial message, or short communication. You are not able to do the full experimentation. You have done very short or small experiments you have done, and partial results you have got. That kind of experiments, from those kind of experiments, you are able to get some short communication papers. So these are all some of the few types of research papers what you can go for. And analyzing a good journal. A lot of good journals are available in the academic and R&D community. So if you go for very good journals, top journals, then you have to look for IEEE transactions or ACM transactions. So again, Nature is a very good journal which are having, Nature has lots and lots of journals in their domain in different domains. So in Nature, 40, 50 and all impact factor are there. Impact factor I'll tell you later. And the Cell Press, Science, the Lancet, Oxford, the Computer Journal, Oxford, Springer, Sage journals, plus journals in the Indavi, Wiley, Frontiers, IET, MDPI, IEEE Access, Elsevier, all this, Wiley, all these are some of the very top journals which are having Taylor and Francis. All these are some of the journals which are available in the academic and R&D forum, where you can refer those journals, and the journal provides real experimentation, real experimented outputs, and from that we are able to infer something. So you can see ACM Computing Service here, impact factor Nature is having a high impact of auto journals are there, and IEEE transactions. IEEE transactions in different domains are there. IEEE transactions on big data, IEEE transactions on computer networks, IEEE transactions on system man and cybernetics 1 and 2, and IEEE transactions on parallel systems. Like that, we are having lots and lots of journal electrical power systems. All these journals are available, and this is Springer is also having a number of journals, and Elsevier is providing a lot of guidance how to publish good academic and R&D content into Elsevier journals. It is also providing some guidance. All the journals, IET has also come out with lots and lots. So IET Networks is there, IET Internet of Things is there. In AI, lots and lots of journals are available. So we have to choose whenever you have done an experimentation. You have to choose which journal your content, your experimental output is suitable with. That we have to check. And how will you select a good journal? You do not know how will you select a good journal. So Clariviate is one particular forum which is providing journal citation reports. Every year it is providing journal citation reports. 2024 also it has provided a JCR, Journal Citation Report. From that report, you can understand which journal is having high popularity among the academic community, which journal has produced high impact factor, how many people, how many authors have been sending papers to which journal. Like that, you are able to understand how many people are accessing those journals, how many people are in touch with those journals. So you can see emerging sources citation index, that is also indexed. Many journals are there. So criteria for a good journal, how do you know whether it is a good journal or it is a fake journal? You can see the journal reputation, how many long years it is, every year it is available, how many long years of service the journal is serving, and who are the editorial team members, and what is the quality of the journal, and what is its business model, whether money is the business model for them or quality is the business model for them, on, and what kind of people are connected with that particular journal, what type of papers are being published in those journals, and what is the review process, whether it's a double-blind process, first review process and the second review, it will go for the second review, your paper will go for the third review, fourth review, like that. Sometimes your paper will get, maybe a maximum of 2 years will take for a paper to be published if it is a very good, highly reputed journals. And what is the acceptance criteria? If 100 people are sending papers or 1,000 people are sending papers to a particular journal, whether all the 1,000 papers will be published in the journal? No, it won't be published. They'll be having an acceptance criteria. Maybe 20% of the papers may be published, may be accepted. What's the meaning for that? If you send 100 papers, 100 people are sending 100 papers, only 20% of the papers alone will be accepted. Some of the journals can accept 50% or 50%. Some of the journals can accept 30%. Like that, they are having an acceptance criteria. And the journal impact factor. Journal impact factor indicates how many number of papers have been accepted by the journal and how many out of which the total number of papers published in the journal. That will indicate the journal impact factor. And impact factor in the sense, again, source initiated impact factor, SNIP, as well as you are having impact factor also. So you can see whether the SNIP value is there or value is great, or the impact factor IF value is great, then we can see which journal will be a better journal. And the indexing status. So when you go for indexing status, Arts and Humanities Citation Index, AHCI is the one, because the papers which are accepted by this journal are related to arts and humanities. And Institute for Scientific Information, ISI, is a journal indexing technology. And Science Citation Index, we are looking for Science Citation Index, as because we are in science community, we are in engineering community, we want to publish our papers with the Science Citation Index. And Science Citation Index expanded, that is SCI. It is an expanded version of SCI. And I'll tell you the difference in the forthcoming slides. And Emerging Sources Citation Index, ESCI, and Social Sciences Citation Index, SSCI, SciMago Journal Rank, it is available there. You can Google it and then find out. And then Scopus. Always we used to see whether the paper is indexed in Scopus or not. All the essay papers will be definitely indexed in Scopus. I need to publish in high impact factor journal. The impact factor value will be high, so that the journal will be reputed journal. That's what we are saying. So first point is importance of publishing in high impact factor journal, improved academic credibility, and second one is increased grant funding prospects, and improved career advancement, better validation of research, increased citations, higher influence on policy making, greater international recognition. Publish in high impact factor journal, all these are the benefits. So because of that only, we are going for high impact factor journal. What's the meaning of high impact factor? Again, the quality aspect is very, very high for them, and the acceptance ratio will be very, very less for them. And because of that, only high quality papers will be published in those journals. Because of high quality, they are ranked the top journals, and we will be struggling to publish our papers in those journals. And world's first citation index was invented by Dr. Eugene Garfield, inventor of the world's first citation index. So what's the meaning of that? He has some principles. He devised some principles. Based on those principles only, the Science Citation Index has also been provided, also been emerged with respect to some of the principles associated with that. That is objectivity, whether any objectivity is there in the paper or not. Some selectivity, some collection dynamics. So all these are the basic criteria for a journal to accept a paper which you are sending to that journal. And then now what the journals are doing, the journals are looking in your paper. What they are looking at your paper, whether technological advancements are there in your paper, and changes in the publishing landscape has happened because of the technological advancements. If you do some technological advancements in your paper, say for example, Llama is there, large vision models are there, LLMs are there, small language models are there. So in those models, if you do any change or any modification, then you are able to produce some new results. Then it is due to the technological advancement, they are able to publish your paper. How do you choose the value of the journal? How do you find that a value of the journal is identified? So researchers and scientists, they are encouraging always to publish the work in the academic journals. So what they require, they want quality. What's the meaning of quality? Real work, original work. What's the meaning of original work? Say for example, if you want to devise a new device for the betterment of a blind person, or for the betterment of a retinopathy affected people, or for the betterment of the polio attacked people, or for the betterment of anything, even for the betterment of dogs, street dogs, cats, animals to live happily, or you want to invent a new medicine or a new drug or a cancer medicine or something, or you want to identify whether the cancer cells are spreading in the body or some tumor cells are spreading. How do you identify all that? So this can be identified by means of image processing technologies. So by using the image processing technology, if you are able to understand and identify whether the adjacent cells are also affected and how fast the cancer cells are growing, that and all are new research. or the original research. If you are doing with the original data set, then you are able to understand that this is a original research. If these type of original research papers are accepted by the journal, the value of the journal will increase. Now we are talking about SCI journal, Science Citation Index, and Science Citation Index has been expanded with the Science Citation Index expanded. And one more Science Citation Index is Emerging Sources Citation Index. This Emerging Sources Citation Index is not indexed as SCI, but it is indexed in the WOS, Web of Science database. But Science Citation Index expanded is the expansion of Science Citation Index SCI. So now journal evaluation process, they are having 2-stage evaluation, 3-stage evaluation, like that pair blind, double blind evaluation, pair blind process is taking place. What's the meaning of pair blind process? The pair blind process is nothing but you are sending your paper to the journal. The editor can choose any 2 reviewers who are unknown to you, who do not know from whom the paper has been accepted. They'll go through the paper, they'll go through the content of the paper, and without knowing who is who, without any bias, they'll be reviewing the paper and giving a lot of suggestions for the paper to get improved. And then they'll be, the editor will be collecting the reviewer comments, and he will be sending the comments to the author of the paper and asking these changes have to be done in the paper so that your paper will be accepted, or the experiment, whatever you have done has to be expanded with further more inputs. Then we are able to, you can evaluate the results again, and then the paper can be accepted. Like that they will tell. So why they are telling? Because they want only quality paper. It is a pair blind process. So they have there are some stages in the journal evaluation process. I said any number of stages. I said main stages, they are saying initial triage, editorial triage, and editorial evaluation. Initial triage, they'll ask some people to understand some reviewers. I'm also acting as a reviewer for some of the journals and some papers, and how we will be evaluating. I'll be going through the entire paper and see whether the literature is done properly, whether the title is up to the mark, and whatever the content is available, according to the content, whether the title has been fixed, and whether the abstract is describing the content of the paper, whether all the references are clearly cited, or some more references, whether they have missed, whether their methodology is already available, or it is a new methodology, or it is not a new methodology, or already available one, whether the results are fake, or whether the results are really carried out. All these things we will be going through. So whenever a paper has to be accepted, any journal will be meeting 24 criteria of the initial triage. They are saying 28 criteria. Out of 28 criteria, what is the objectivity of the paper, selectivity of the paper, number of same kind of papers have been arrived to the journal, like that they are saying. The 4 criteria is third stage editorial evaluation assesses the journal's impact factor on 4 criteria according to the journal's quality measures. The 24 criteria, what are the criteria? I'll tell you. Format of whether the format is proper or not, whether the abstract is written within 250 words or 300 words, whether the keywords are properly written, whether the keywords are up to the mark, whether the manuscript has been devised or written according to the style or format. IEEE format they'll be giving, or Springer format, Elsewhere format. A lot of formats are there according to the journals, and all those formats will be given by the particular journal to which journal you are sending the paper, and whether a cover letter has been attached, whether the manuscript is revised according to the template, whether it is undergoing a latex file or a text file or a Word format or a PDF format. How will you write your manuscript? Whether you have used the editing services, what is the method you have used, whether references are properly attached, whether acknowledgements are given, what is the contribution of how many number of authors are there, whether every author is having his or her own contribution in the paper, what is the competing interest for the authors, because all the authors, 3 authors are there in a paper, 3 authors are sharing a paper. So when 3 authors are sharing, whether all the authors may not be proficiency, having enough proficiency in each and every part of the paper. Somebody will be interested in literature, somebody will be interested in the methodology, somebody will be interested in experimentation, Python coding, like that. So they'll be interested in collecting the data set from Kaggle or collecting the data set from real world environment. So authors' competing interests have to be shown. And data availability, from where you have taken the data for your experimentation, whether you have taken the data from the data set, or whether the data set is available, whether it is an authorized data set or a fake data set or a cooked data set. Even if you go for ChatGPT and other things, nowadays ChatGPT is very much available, Gemini is available, and everything, Copilot is available. So when all these are available, when you ask a question, automatically it is providing an answer in terms of text. You want ChatGPT to provide a project proposal, immediately it is writing a project proposal in terms of some significant titles, and it is able to provide. What's the meaning for that? But whether people are able to understand that it is written by ChatGPT, it is not written by you, by the human. But in that way, you should understand, you can seek the help of ChatGPT, or you can seek the help of Copilot, and etc. But you should not rely completely on the work or on the assistance of ChatGPT and all. You have to do your own work and write your own paper. And what is the ethics? And when you go for some animal experimentation, and you have to get the animal approval for animal experimentation. Even if you go for psychological or physiological measurements of a human, say for example, you are doing a device, you are devising a device for a mentally retarded person, so that his mind will be proper. So if you want to invent a new device, how will you go and get the permission? So you have to get the approval, ethical clearance. You have to get it if you want to do any experimentation over the human. And consent from the participant, whoever is there with you as an author, mutual consent to publish and supplementary information, anything is available. And what is the legend for the paper, figure, and table title, how the table has to be formatted, or how the equation should appear, and what is the general figure guideline, figures for peer review, figures for publication, and statistical analysis or calculations, whatever you have done, whether it has to be added as an annexure, or chemical or biological nomenclature, abbreviations, and if you use genetics and genetics nomenclature, the characterization of chemical, biomolecular molecules, and reports and everything. So all these are some of the 28, I told you, it is 28. Each and every journal, if you go into the journal and find out what is their selection criteria, they'll be giving. Abstract must be like this, keyword must be like this, your manuscript must be prepared like this, and what is your author criteria, whether you are using large language model. ChatGPT is a large language model, you can use it, but you cannot effectively apply the output which is provided by ChatGPT into your experiment. That you should understand. So in that way, all this and how many minimum number of references, all this you must understand. So these are the criteria, journal evaluation process. But this is some of the journal evaluation process. If you go to the journal page and then go in deep into that, and you can find out what type of journal evaluation process are available. This is what I said already. And evaluating the journal's impact factor. You can a journal's impact. So if you publish a paper in a particular journal, you will be prized. How you are being appreciated because of the journal's creative journal's citation index. So the citation indicates how many sources of citation for a given journal goes. For a particular journal, many number of citations are there, means then you can understand that the journal is having a high citation, and your publication history can also go high. So in that case, SCI stands first. That is why this particular webinar is aiming for how will you publish SCI indexed papers. SCI indexed papers, if you go, then it is very difficult as because it is going 2, 3, 4 peer reviewed reviews, and each and every reviewer will be giving his or her own comments. And I want to state that SCI, SCIE, and ESCI, the differences. So first of all, SCI is Science Citation Index. SCIE is Science Citation Index expanded. So SCI and SCIE are one and the same almost. Since because it is expanded, so already SCI data, SCI papers which are published are made available in the hard disk. Somewhere it is being kept safe. And now what is happening about CDs like that? And SCIE, they are keeping everything in the online. That is the major difference, nothing more than that. And SCIE has come into the vicinity of SCIE. Whereas ESCI, I told you that it is coming under WOS, Web of Science Journal Indices, and it is not having that much quality in comparison with the SCI or SCIE. So this is about how do you select the journal for your publication outlet. That depends upon what kind of research you are doing, and depending upon the research what you are doing, you have to choose your journal. Say for example, if you are going for a image processing technique, then you have to choose some of the journals, medical imaging journals which are available in the PubMed database like that. And second point related to our today's webinar is keep a good title and novel abstract for your paper. So the title should always be catchy. I used to give my, like, because my device, I have given the title as virtual eye. Virtual eye because the blind persons are not having eye. So an eye, the device is going to act as an eye to the blind people, so that the title is so catchy. So that way you have to give a title for your paper. So how will you organize your scientific paper? The most common format is IMRAD. IMRAD indicates R&D results and discussion. M plus or experimental section, introduction section. If a number of there are number of methods, you can see the IMRAD. I indicates introduction. So the problem statement you have to write, and methods. M indicates methods. How was the problem studied? Or results. What are the findings? A, and discussion. What you infer from the findings. So in the introduction section, what you have to write is you should write the content of the technologies, whatever you are going to use in the paper, that you have to write it. And also you should write the problem statement at the end. Also you should find out you can incorporate the literature. At the end of the literature, you can find out the challenges, and after finding the challenges, you can write the research questions. And out of all the research, 4 or 5 research questions you have found after knowing the challenges, means 1 or 2 research questions you should try to answer. So those research questions can be made as a problem statement. You want to address those research questions so that you are making a problem statement, how you are combining the research questions to form a problem statement. After forming the problem statement, you can split the problem statement into some objectives. So each and every objective, you can have some input and output and a process involved with that. And after the process is executed, your input will be transformed or transferred to an output. Then you can publish it as a paper. So the input which is transformed to the output because of the methodology what you have invented, what you are going to invent, how the problem is analyzed due to the method which you are going to apply. And after the method is executed, you will be getting some results, and you are analyzing those results with the false positive confusion matrix. Say for example, false positive, false negative, true positive, true negative, like that. And maybe a classification problem, whether your classifier has classified the problem into multiple classes properly, whether your classifier is able to classify the test data in a perfect manner, or your classifier fails in some situations. Why your classifier fails to identify that a true value is treated as a false value, or a false value is treated as a true value? What is the error and the performance metrics and all that? So you are inferring something after analyzing your results. That is inference, that is the discussion. Your findings are with respect to a limitation only, and beyond that, none of the research is 100% perfect. So when you are identifying something, when you are analyzing something, when you are getting some outputs from the experiments, what you'll be doing, your experiment may also fail in some situation. So you should know that that is the error. That error will happen in any experimentation, in any research work. So that error, 80% your product may work, and 20% it may fail, or 90% your product may work, and 10% it may fail. That and all has to be discussed because of what this problem occurred, because of what the error has occurred. All this you have to write it in the discussion section. And what is a scientific research paper? I said about whether it is a original research or it is a simulated research. You have n number of simulations, network simulator 2, 3, MATLAB, many simulators are available. Circuit simulators are available. So those simulators, through those simulators, you can create a circuit, create a network simulator, circuit simulator, network simulator. All simulators are available. You can even simulate an aeroplane, you can simulate a train, you can simulate any object in the world, you can simulate a cat, you can simulate a dog, you can simulate anything, simulate a human, anything you can do. The characteristics can also be simulated. Your brain can be simulated. Blue Brain is a project which is going on. How the model of a human brain, they are trying to simulate the model, simulate the human brain. Actually, it is a very big work. I do not know, when I was sitting last week in a seminar, they told that when you expand your brain, the nerves of the brain, it goes up to 70,000 kilometers, they said. So I was wondering about the length of the brain. Okay. So we are not utilizing our brain fully. Only 7%, the maximum brain utilization is done by Albert Einstein, which is of 7%. And we are not able to utilize to that much extent. Even 1%, whether we have utilized or not, we do not know. All this are possible by means of doing some experiments, getting some observations, and doing some intellectual processes, and getting our work being noticed by other people. So you can see where and all very good papers will be available: biological abstracts, Medicus, PubMed, etc. And the language, how do you write? We used to write in English only, and the English statements will be brilliant enough to capture the audience so that they can go through the paper. If they are not going through the paper, our writing skill is not proper, and the editor can also advise us to modify our writing capabilities. So before starting to write a paper, you record your readings. Results are very, very important. Tables are important. Graphs are important. You have lots and lots of graphs available: bar chart, many chart histograms, and many charts are available. Line graph, many graphs are Excel. You can use Excel. You can use Canva. You can use data wrapper. You can use Bubble. Many Tableau. Data analytics tools you can use, and many things. Or you can use Python, you can use R Studio, you can use SPSS, you can use. All these are some of the tools which are available so that you can make your tables, make your reading, record your readings, and draw the graphs, and the pictorial representation of your readings can be made visible in the paper. So all these are some of the tools. Many tools are available, and you can make use of that. Essential parts of the scientific paper is your title must be catchy, I said, abstract, introduction. So we have done a device for the agricultural field. So the sensors which are capable of collecting the information from the agricultural field will be monitored, and then whatever is required for the plants, for a muskmelon field we have done, and many devices, sensors, are different types of sensors. Are collected. Different types of sensors are kept on in a 1 acre land, and we collected the data using a data collector, and we made the title as Agribus, agricultural bus, which connects all the sensors and actuators, and it is able to provide the result whenever we want. So abstract of the paper, abstract must be 250 to 300 words. It must summarize the major elements of the paper. Introduction must be rational for the study. What is the context and what are the technologies which we are using inside the paper? For that also we have to provide the introduction. And materials, what is the design, methods, experimental procedures, your flowchart, your algorithm, all this will come under methods, results, the findings, discussion, interpretation, that is inference from through which what you have come across, that is summarize your findings. You have to give credit who has helped you in doing that experiment, and references you have to write finally at the end. What is the title? A title must be catchy and attractive. The title must be very attractive. So indexing and abstracting of the paper depends upon the accuracy of the title. What's the meaning of that? The title must be catchy and attractive. So from the title itself, we must be attracted towards the paper so that it will make the people to get interested in reading that particular paper. Title and keywords. What are the keywords? Any new algorithms or new ideas are being written inside the paper. Those words must be written as keywords. And so the same content you should not elaborate it. In one sentence you are able to explain. In that sentence itself is sufficient for the people to understand, and so you cannot expand and you cannot write 3-4 sentences about the same content. You should avoid the waste sentences. And how to prepare the title. A lot of ideas are there. We go through Google and then find out how a catchy title can be. You can see the startup companies' titles, how attractively they are able to provide. Copilot, how is it? You can see Gemini, ChatGPT, how they are providing titles for their devices. Alexa, all these titles you can see. And the startup companies, they are having very good catchy titles they are having. Likewise, we can also provide good titles after going through the abbreviation, and you can see the synonyms of what you are doing for the content what you are doing. You can see the synonyms in any language. That can also be written in English as your title. And abstract must be catchy. It should describe the entire content of the paper. IMRAD, that you know. And the criteria of the abstract will be given by the journal what you are choosing. That is of 250 to 300 words. That depends. And it must be accurate. No figures will be there in the abstract. That's all about how to select your journal. And next is manuscript preparation. And coming to the manuscript preparation, what you studied and how the manuscript has to be written, and whether you know the topic already, and whether the model, what model I was testing, and why you have taken that study. All these questions you have to ask yourself before you start the preparation of your paper. And what is the general rule for a good introduction? Present the nature and scope of the problem, and what is the methodology you have used, and what you have investigated, and results of investigation, and conclusion, all this. And general rules about manuscript preparation is you should find out the particular journal and then use the present tense when referring to work that has already been published. Already published works, if you are referring, you have to use the present tense. But past tense, when referring to your own study, you have to use past tense. Remember this, and use the active voice as much as possible whenever you are writing a paper. And as I said, avoid lengthy or unfocused reviews of the previous research, because you may not be, even though you have gone through the previous papers and you have to provide the literature, and at the end of the literature, 20 to 30 papers, you will be going through and analyzing the content of each and every paper and finalizing what they have concluded, what they have researched, and what they have left out as a challenge which is not being addressed in the paper. All this, even though you have gone through, they are the researchers. You are not the researcher. Just you are going through, you are analyzing. You may not be analyzing fully. It is definite that nobody will be analyzing the earlier papers or earlier literature fully. You will be giving your own suggestion. They didn't do this. I'm only going to do this. Like that, you will be commenting. You will be writing at the end. That you are not supposed to do. Avoid lengthy and unfocused reviews of previous research. You are not supposed to do that, because they are also researchers. They have done some work Their works must be appreciated, but you should find out any one of the loophole which is not addressed in that paper. Maybe they have used 10,000 records as a data set. You may go for 1 lakh of 1 lakh of records in your data set, so that your scalability can be improved. Like this, you can go and cite the peer-reviewed journal papers in your reference. And textbooks must be avoided. Special things must be abbreviated properly. Special words can be abbreviated properly. These are some of the rules before you write your manuscript. And the materials and the methods section will provide the full experimentation. And the methods must be having, you are not able to write the entire method, the flowchart, the block diagram, or the algorithm. At a stretch, you are not able to do. You can have some subheadings under that. And with each and every subheading, you can write what is the methodology and what are the materials you have used for executing those methodologies. Do not mix some of the results in the section. Result section is separate. In the materials and method section, you never write the results into the materials and the method section. It is separate, because some of the journals, when you send it, they will ask you again, remove the results from these materials and method sections and give the result section as a separate one. They will ask you. So these kind of problems you have to avoid when you go for sending your paper to the high impact factor essay indexed journals. And you must be strong in the subject what you have studied. You must be strongly defend your paper. Remember. So exact technical specification you must know about the paper what you are writing. If it is a chemical paper, then you must know the names of the chemicals and physical experiments and all that. That I'm not, I do not know much about the chemical formulas and other things, and you have to look into that if you are going for that. Questions, if they ask some questions about if in your paper, if you have written randomly that my work is 100% better or it is superior than, you must know how much superior your work is, how much better your work is in comparison with the earlier work. That you should understand, and in that way you have to give a statistical view of understanding your paper. Must be given to the opponent who is reading your paper. Remember, because you are only doing the research, others are just reading your paper. From reading your paper, they should understand what you have done in your point of view, and that kind of suggestion or that kind of comfortness you have to give for the opponent who is reading your paper. And finally, you have to write the results in the past tense. The result section is written in the past tense. It is the core and heart of the paper, because what you invented, what you have investigated, what you have identified after your experiment, what the results you got, that has to be clearly notified, and it must be written in that particular section. So it is very, very important. And in the result section, do not describe the methods. Method section, do not write the results. Result section, do not describe the methods. Methods of, and then what is the data over which you worked? Directly you can present the data in the text itself, you can write, or in the annexure section you can give, in a table you can give, in a figure you can give, or you can give it as a separate, in the GitHub file also you can give. Nowadays journal papers are asking, journal editors are asking the GitHub repository address also they are asking, where your data set is kept and where your experimentation is being done. And all the figures and tables must be accompanied by a textual presentation. Textual presentation is, so you are drawing a table. On top of the table, you have to mention what is the representation of the table. And after that, when you are writing the text, when you are presenting your views, you should mention in table 3. Table 3 represents the values of, like that you have to mention. Likewise, the graphical graph or the block diagram, whatever you are drawing, you will be writing the representation of the block diagram or the graph at the bottom of the graph or at the bottom of the block diagram. So in the after the graph or after the block diagram, when you are writing your text, you must write block diagram 2 represents like that. You have to write. Remember, it has to be whatever you are drawing, whatever graphs are there, whatever block diagrams there, whatever flow charts are there, whatever tables are there, that must be represented in the textual section followed by those diagrams. That is very important. Tables and figures, I said tables are on top, figures at the bottom. You have to convey it properly. Any table must be represented properly with how many number of columns and the number of columns and number of rows. And one more important thing is do not include both the table and the figure showing the same information. Same information, different information. It has to show different information. And finally, you have to write the discussion. So what you have inferred, what is the relationship among your data, what is the relationship between your input and output, or how many number of attributes are there, each and every attribute. If you change one particular attribute, whether the output attribute is also changing, or what is the sensitivity and what is the specificity of your data. So finally, you are finding out some performance metrics, throughput, jitter, delay, sensitivity, specificity, F1 measure. All these are some of the parameters of the paper of your experiment. And when you go, what is the meaning of sensitivity? Say, for example, if you make a very, very small, minute change in your input, it will provide a drastic change in the output. That is sensitive. Your device is that much sensitive to the even, say, for example, if you go to even a rain comes immediately, we may get cough or cold, some people. And some people, they won't get affected. What's the meaning of that? And somebody they are highly affected or highly sensitive to cold like that. So a small change in the climatic environment will make a change in their body. That's the meaning. Likewise, a small change in your input will make a drastic change in your output. So how much is the sensitivity that you have to calculate as a performance metric? And many performance measures are there. And those performance measures you have to analyze and then write it in the discussion section. And there are some components in the discussion section. So to present the principles, the relationship among the data and the generalizations shown by the results, you have to write it in the discussion section. The discussion section always clearly state that what kind of relationship among the data is existing, and whether there are any exceptions or any correlation is missing, like that. That is what error is. So when there is a correlation among the data, some relationship is there among the data. When one data and the data is not having any relationship with other data and something is missing, that you should analyze why that missing occurs, why there is no connectivity occurs. That you have to understand. That you have to write it. And finally, you have to acknowledge who have helped you, whether equipments have been provided by your company, by your college, and any other materials are provided, some grants are provided, some chemicals are provided, financial assistance have been given, and all that you have to notify and acknowledge to your supervisor who has helped you to devise the paper, to devise the experiment. And then finally, you have to reference. And then for references, there are a lot of Zotero and many Mendeley and many softwares are available. And those softwares also you can make use of, and they'll be used for referencing the articles in the reference section. And those references must definitely be cited into the paper. And reference format, and journals have given a lot of formats. Harvard format is there, 1, 2, 3, and alphabetical format is there. Citation, there is an order system. One by one, you can cite that you should check with respect to the journal. So these are some of the in-text citations. Within the text itself, you can cite the paper. This particular, you can write the author name. Mandeli Etel has described something like that. You can write, or you can write the citation in terms of numbers within the brackets, or you can refer depending upon the journal style and how the journal is imposing you. Accordingly, you can write the citation inside the paper, and you have any papers not cited in the text should not be included. What's the meaning? The paper, you are not citing the paper, you need not write the paper in the reference list. So that should also be kept in your mind whenever you are writing the paper. And this is again in citation order, alphabet order, or in name and year order system. And book, how will you cite, and journal or magazine article, how will you cite, newspaper, magazine or journal article, how will you cite, and volume number must be there, and page number must be there, volume number must be there, and year must be there, and version must be there, edition must be there. All this must version. If you use a data set, then you should write the version name and year. Everything must be there. And the reference, how the reference must look like, that will be given by the particular journal what you are applying for. From that journal, we can see, and these are some of the sample references. And finally, you have the ethics. You are not supposed to copy anything. Plagiarism, tomorrow I'll be speaking about how much plagiarism a journal can allow. And originality must be there. Even if you copy and paste from somewhere, then paraphrasing will occur. And every 11th word, you must change actually. You are not supposed to copy more than 10 words from anywhere. And do not copy. If you copy something, then write it in the bracket like courtesy, from which book or which journal, like that you have to write. And if you need some permissions for getting the content, then you can ask permission and get the consent. And if you copy some of the diagrams from the from Google, then not uncopyrighted or not copyrighted figures, you can search it and then you can make use of those diagrams, or you can slightly change the diagram also instead of copying. Finally, this is how you have to prepare the manuscript. And then manuscript submission, you have to find the journal again. There are journal catalogs available, journal finder available in elsewhere, and you can give your content immediately. ChatGPT will tell these are the journals through which you can apply your content. So 10 factors choosing the right journal for right publication. Aims and scope of the journal is aligned with your journal or journal impact factor, you like it or not, 6 point or 5 point or 2 point or 1 point. Indexing of journals, wireless personal communication is having 2 point or 3 point. So if you want to publish your paper in a 3 point impact factor, then you can go for something. Peer reviewed journals or the publishing time, how much time the journal will take. You want the paper to be published in 3 months or 4 months or 5 months or 6 months. So if the journal is taking more number of reviews, 4 reviews or 3 reviews, and the time taken for the journal to publish your paper is of 2 years, 1.5 years, then whether you will go for the journal or not. And then acceptance rate, whether it will accept only 20% or 10% of the journal of the papers which are applied to the journal, whether you will go for the journal, that and all you have to check. And the reachability of the journal, and check the journals for any publication similar to your research article, because according to your research article, whether the journal has published the same type of papers already, then it is easy for then the same type, because your interest lies with the interest of the journal, because journal is also publishing papers like your interest. That you should check for the journal's restrictions. Conditions will be there for every journal, and your predatory publication. And that is, fake journals are available, that you have to check. They will write that they are having 15.6 as impact factor. It is not true. Immediately you have to check with the Scopus database and then find out whether that particular journal is available or not. And as I said, journal finder is available in elsewhere. You can go through and then find out whether your paper, whether your content is matching with respect to the journal's aim and the scope. Or you can give your abstract. The journal finder will find you. These are the journals you can choose. There are journal metrics available. According to the journal metrics also, you can choose. And you want to publish only in SCI journal, right? So now SCI, SCIE, ESCI. All these are the flavors of SCI. You can see SCI Science Citation Index, SCI Science Citation Index Expanded, ESCI Emerging Source Citation Index. So what is SCI? SCI Science Citation Index is a part of Web of Science, and it is maintained by Clarivate Analysis. It indexes scholarly literature in the natural and social sciences. Coming to SCI, it is an expansion of SCI, including a larger number of journals in the natural and social sciences. And coming to ESCI, it is also available in the Web of Science database. It is a high quality peer-reviewed publications of regional importance and emerging scientific fields. Similarly, all the three are having similarity, but the difference is the basic principles in SCI include the selected journals which follow some practice, and the highly influential journals are available in SCI. But coming to SCI, you can see here there was overlap between SCI and SCI, as there are two separate databases. I do not know whether this count is perfect or not, but SCI contains a curated collection of over 9,000, maybe 10,000 journals that span 178 scientific disciplines. Maybe now it will be more than that also. SCI, on the other hand, comprise the most highly cited journals with the highest impact factor within SCI. Why not simply highlight the top tier journals in SCI? Why create a new database? This is a question asked. SCI is standing first. SCI is coming under SCI because it is included. But top journals are available in SCI only, not in SCI. They are maintaining two databases. Why they are maintaining two databases? One database for SCI, the other database for SCI. What's the meaning for that? Because of the two indexing databases, their storage medias are different. CDs, DVDs, mostly stored SCI, whereas SCI is stored online. It's the information I got it from the internet, and that is why we are going for SCI indexed journals only. And SCI is also we can go for. But in comparison with SCI and SCI, ESCI is not having that much quality equal to these two types of journal, as because it is applied to Social Sciences Citation Index, Social Sciences Arts and Humanities Citation Index, Arts and Humanities. So in this only this ESCI is playing a major role, but it is not having, it is indexed in Web of Science. These two are one and the same. That's ESCI is different one, not equivalent to SCI or SCI. And you can prepare your paper for submission. After knowing all this, after knowing the publishing process, there are procedures available in each and every article, each and every journal's homepage. If you go to the homepage, that will redirect you whether you want to go for open access, whether you want to provide the article processing charges, article processing fee, or you want to make your paper open access, so no need to pay your article processing fee. In that way, you can select the journal elsewhere. Most elsewhere journals using online systems. So through that we can apply most of the journals, even IEEE Transactions and other journals, they are also using online access only. Elsewhere is providing a lot of guidance for the authors to publish your paper. And finally, you have to give your copyright form also. Check the open access options available in the journal's homepage, and check the proofs, copyright and licensing. If you revisit or go to elsewhere, you can find a lot of inputs, how the guidelines also to submit your paper to the particular journal. And the last point is address the reviewer comments. So definitely if you submit your paper, then you will be tracking your submitted paper, whether they are giving any guidance or some queries have been raised by the editor or the reviewer. You have to check. There are some support centers. You'll be given a password, you'll be given a username. Through that you can go on track the paper, what is already submitted. So how will you address the reviewer comments? They'll be going through the entire paper and they'll be giving some comments for the improvement of the paper. So when they are giving some improvements, you have to do the changes in your paper. Some sample reviewer comments I'm giving here. So they will be sending you their comments like, dear author, your manuscript submitted to the particular journal has undergone a peer review. The manuscript has been accepted subject to some revisions. If you do some changes, some revision, then we will accept. That's the meaning. Please find attached the comments from the peer reviewers. Please take the following actions. Review the manuscript according to the reviewer's comments using the track changes facility in the Word. You have to go to Word and do the changes. Likewise, they are saying, provide a response to each of the comments. For each and every comment given by the reviewer, you have to give a specific response to that particular comment in a separate Word document. You have to create a Word document, write the copy the reviewer comments. The next column, you give the answer, and whatever change you have done in the paper, that has to be mentioned in the third column, remember. And upload the revised manuscript and response to the reviewer comments. Then you have to upload the paper after responding to all the reviewer comments. Likewise, they'll be sending the mail and the sample reviewer comments again. Reviewer A, general comment. This is a well-written manuscript covering an important issue in disaster response. This is relevant and applicable. And was the outbreak investigation described sufficiently? Whether you have done or not? No. Comment on investigation. Most aspects of the investigation is described sufficiently. There needs to be something you have to do. Whether you have done it or not? Yes. Where the limitations of the investigation adequately discussed? Yes. Yes means okay, you have done correct. Limitations are discussed but could be expanded. They'll give the comment like that. And they'll be giving comment like that depending upon what paper we have written. Reviewers will be sending some comments. Sometimes there'll be a track change will also be there, and they may ask to clarify a particular comment. Should the reference number be 1 or 2? They may ask, because you by mistake you could have written 2 instead of 1, like that. And some more results are also required for your findings, like that. They can ask why you have taken only 95% confidence interval. What is the p-value? What is the measure of association among your data points? And you can refine your search methodology, or you can modify your method, or whether whatever written is irrelevant to the content what you are writing, so it has to be removed. Like that, they can give some reviewer comments. When they are providing reviewer comments like this, it is of 2 choices. That you can accept the comments of the reviewer, then positively you can write, sir, I will do all these changes and I'm submitting the paper for your kind person. Like that you can do. Or really you have done the research, really you have got the output, then you are confident enough, you can neglect the reviewer comment. Not neglecting, you can oppose the reviewer comment also, politely saying that, sir, I have done the experiment like this. This is what the result I got. So for your kind consideration, I'm writing all this. Like that we can write, because you can agree with reviewer comments or disagree with the reviewer comment. How many samples per tank, reservoir, and household? How are the sample sites selected? Author, thank you for your comment. We have clarified the number of samples collected in the method section, the last paragraph, page 3. Likewise, you have to write. So where you have done the change, that has to be mentioned. And you can write all the reviewer comments separately and the author response in a separate file. And then you have to write a letter to the editor also, stating that, dear editor, whatever reviewer comments are given, I have answered answered for all the reviewer comments. Reviewer 1 and reviewer 2, 3, or whatever. That has to be written as a response to the editor. So these are the examples. Your response to the editor should contain 2 files. One is the tracked changes, whatever you have done, and separate Word document that lists each reviewer's comment which is being addressed by you. And after sending this to the editor, you have to wait till your paper gets fully accepted and till it gets published. Finally, manuscript acceptance. You can track your accepted paper. There are provisions in the journal page, and after it gets accepted, you can make your paper to be shared with your peer groups, and then you can promote your own paper, else Google Scholar it will get promoted, and now the people who are in your same domain can get notified. And some of the references I have written. Any questions? Tomorrow we'll see the genesis of the paper. Questions from the audience.
Friends, if you have any questions, kindly use the chat box. Thank you.
Give your feedback. Your feedback form is shared in the chat. Tell me, somebody is raising your hand. Balaji, Shukanya. If it's okay for you, then we will meet tomorrow.
Okay.